the space where we dive deep into the real stories of resilience, growth, and the mindful pursuit of living fully inside out. I'm your host Sana, and today's conversation, listeners, is all about turning life's darkest moments into a catalyst for purpose. And listeners, I am beyond honored to be joined by Gretchen Schoser. Let me share a bit about Gretchen with all of you listeners. She is a suicide attempt survivor, co-host of an award-winning mental health podcast, and advocate for the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. At 61, Gretchen reinvented herself, combining her tech background with a passion for mental health, founding a company that champions resilience and empowerment. And in this episode, we are talking how rock bottom became her launching pad, listeners. How honesty, laughter, and connecting with people and helping people feels less alone. And if you have ever faced a moment where you questioned everything, or right now you're questioning everything, or you know someone who has or is going through that experience, this conversation is for you. So, with that, let's get into this powerful conversation on finding light after the darkest of the darkest times. So, with that, Gretchen, welcome to the show, and I'm absolutely honored having you with us.
I'm so honored to be on your show. Thank you for having me. And, I hope that based on our conversation, we help at least one person take that pain and
Yeah.
turn it into something beautifully purposeful and can shed light on just how hard it is to dig from that really dark point to where the light really comes on for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gretchen, before we even talk about the topic, would you like to share your personal journey? That pivotal moment, or maybe the events happening around that moment. I mean, how exactly hitting rock bottom led you to discover your deeper purpose?
Sure. It's not a pretty story.
Mhm.
But it's a typical story. So at the time everything happened, I was 59 and a half. It was the last quarter of 2022, and I had had I was fortunate enough I got asked if I wanted to take an early retirement from work. Okay, and all things, that's great, but as you remember, there's ages I'm still in the workforce, so that was, like, hit number 1. Hit
Mhm.
number 2, my wife got shingles. She was down with shingles for 8 weeks, and if you've ever been around anybody that has shingles, there's absolutely nothing you can do. Now, I'm a true empath and a true extrovert, so where all this pain is going on, I'm shoving it down as far as it can go and just putting on a happy face, but taking on everybody else's pain and not taking care of myself. So to add to all of that, I hit and killed a deer. I got catfished. The FBI got involved. And then a really good friend of ours passed away unexpectedly. My father in law passed away 2 days before Thanksgiving. And then you throw in a little bit of holiday depression and some seasonal depression. And then on top of everything else, work had agreed to let me take my early retirement and they took all my duties away. So I was sitting around for 8 hours, not having anything to do. And in the meantime, I'm taking in everybody else's pain, right? Like, I didn't know what boundaries were at that time, so I'm, like, sucking it all in, and I would show up at work and be, like, with a smile, and I would laugh. Nobody knew how depressed I was. Nobody. My wife didn't know, my friends, my coworkers, no one. So come Christmas Day of 2022, all I wanted to do was go for a drive. That's all I wanted to do, but it was minus 22 here, and my car wouldn't start, and I was just defeated. So I came back into the house. I don't think my wife even know I knew I came back into the house, and I went upstairs to my bedroom, and I was just done. I was tapped. Like, I couldn't take any more pain. I couldn't and I didn't really know how to talk to anybody because I didn't know what was going on inside my head. I'd never felt that way before. And I had remembered a couple months ago, a couple months before that, I had read about the 988 crisis line here in the United States. And I'd had a bottle of pills, and I kept looking at the pills. I kept crying, and there was like this glimmer of hope that things were going to get better, right? And like I was so afraid that I was actually going to go through with it. And then I start thinking about, all the people in my life that would really miss me. And so the combination of that glimmer of hope and um, all those other things, I ended up calling 988. The woman that answered that phone was by far the most compassionate woman I've ever spoken to in my life. She gave me a voice to what was going on inside of my head because, like I said, I didn't understand it. At 59 and a half, we've been taught our entire life that we don't talk about our mental health. We don't talk about what's going on. We just kind of suck it up and move on.
One.
So I spent like 2.5 hours on the phone with them just to kind of wrap my head around what was going on. And she gave me the strength to go down and talk to my wife. And, my wife was mad because like I hadn't opened up to her, but I tried to explain to her that I didn't know how to open up to her because I didn't know what was going on. So after I did all that, I made a therapy appointment. And the very next day, I started sharing on social media what was going on with me because I have a pretty large friend group. And I didn't want people to feel as terrified and alone in their own journey as I felt in mine. I, m- I mean, I had never felt like that. So as soon as I did that, I had about 200 people reach out to me and say thank you because now they didn't feel so terrified and alone in their own journey. And then that was one of my healers, was being able to share my journey. Then my other healer was my co-host of my podcast. She was my manager at the time. I use that term super loosely because I retired like 4 months later. But we'd been friends for 7 years, and so every morning before work, we would start laughing. Right? We would like laugh about stuff you should never ever laugh about, but it helped set the trajectory for the day. Right? Because laughter has that great way of breaking up that cortisol and getting your endorphins up. So no matter what crap hit you through the day, you could go back and reflect on that conversation. And so it was during one of those conversations that she's like, "Hey, we should do a podcast." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do a podcast." Because my two healers at that time were laughing and sharing my journey. And we didn't think anybody would listen to us. And we're like, "Yeah, we're going to do 3 episodes or we'll be done." you know, Fast forward to 2024, September 2024, we won 2 awards for our podcast. And in December of 2024, we hit 1,000,000 downloads. And if you had asked us 5 years ago if this was in our wheelhouse, it wasn't. None of this was in our wheelhouse. It took a really bad mental health breakdown for me to figure out the world needs more of this because Sana, you know that every time we share our story, we unlock somebody else's prison, right? And we've had some amazing guests and amazing people on our podcast. And it gave me a sense of knowing I needed to change my purpose. So I, in November of 2024, the small consulting company I went to go work for got, acquired by a very large consulting firm, and I was like, "Nope, I'm out. I've already done this before," and I got really depressed. But this time, I everybody knew where I stood because because if you have resting bitch face, you can only, hide that for so long until you have to put on a camera, and they're like, "Oh, you need to turn your camera off." So, this time everybody knew where I stood, and so I come January of 2025, I decided to quit corporate America and I created my own company. And I'm 61, gonna be 62 here in a couple of months. And I found that I I've really found my purpose, and I'm just trying to change the world and make it a little less crappier for people like me that have mental health issues,
Mhm.
because life is short, but
Yeah.
you can take those really bad parts of your life, and if
Mm.
you're willing to put the work in, I had to put 2 years of really hard work into myself. You can see the light at that end of that very dark tunnel, because for me, it was, like, pitch black, and then little light bulbs were coming on. I'm like, "Oh, I could do this," or, "I'm feeling better about this," and that's just, like, part of the story, and, like I told you earlier, I'm so thankful to be alive. I'm so thankful for that glimmer of hope. I'm thankful for 988. I'm thankful for all my friends and my family that propped me up when I couldn't prop myself up.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you. I mean, first of all, Gretchen, thank you for sharing that. And um, so many questions I have because I mean, everyone has their own share of struggles, set of setbacks, demons to fight within darkest moments. Do you think? I mean, I'm not sure if you believe in God or not, but do you think the woman who was there on the 988 call with you for 2.5 hours, was it like a sign from the universe that this is not the end of your journey? I mean, what exactly did you think after you had finished the call, after you disconnected the call, you were done with the conversation?
It was a combination of 2 things. It was a combination of, like, my higher power giving me that sign. It was like a glimmer. I can't really explain what it is, but it was a feeling that I had that things were gonna be okay, but I just needed somebody to talk me off the ledge, kinda give me a voice to what was going on, and, yeah, I'm a huge believer in fate,
Yeah.
and I I believe that, like, we were meant to meet, and that but not on those terms, but I'm so thankful that she was there, because the 988 crisis hotlines and the other crisis hotlines throughout the world save lives every single day. The problem is not enough people know about them.
Correct. Abs- Thank you. Thank you for sharing this, Gretchen. And uh, that's what it is. I mean, uh, uh, if I add some of the moments from my journey, I mean, I was into the corporate journey, 10 years in there. The last 2 3 years before I got into podcasting, full time podcasting, was pretty much rough for me, tough for me, because I was physically burned out. I was not having good terms with my family. I was not in much, into or present there in with them. First of all, with myself, I was kind of, not able to process anything. I was just like going on like, a robot or a dead, just a material, non-living thing, something like that. I mean, just going on, I'm going through with it, but I'm not feeling anything in there. So yeah, I mean, everybody will have their fair share of struggles, but stories like this, Gretchen, that you are sharing your story definitely provides that ray of hope, that light at the end of a dark, long tunnel. That yes, you keep going on, you keep walking. There is definitely hope in there. There's definitely light in there. So thank you so much for sharing your story, Gretchen.
You're welcome, and, you're for your listeners out there, like, my PSA to everyone is, if you have an extroverted friend, check in on them and really check in on them. Don't ask them a question that
Mhm.
they will be able to just kinda shrug off. Ask them a question that they actually have to answer, because that that to me, if people had started asking those probing questions in October and November and December of 2022, could have changed the trajectory of everything.
Yeah.
We are super good at masking what's going on. Not a badge of honor, not super proud of it, but it happens.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Wow. And Gretchen, co-hosting an award-winning mental health podcast, it must come with its own set of emotional highs and lows as well. So right now, how do you maintain your well-being while holding space for others' heavy stories? Because it can be really, really, I'll be very frank, emotionally taxing as well. Yes, it's inspiring, it's empowering, but also emotionally taxing with the current scenario, whatever is happening around. How do you hold yourself up?
Okay, so the first thing I did, like since January, I have turned off every single news feed on my phone. I I just I need to know, but I don't want to know every second of every day.
Amazing.
My wife and I have set up a time. We only talk about politics for 1 hour, and it's from 8 to 9. Don't bring it up to me anytime before that. And now that it's started to warm up here in upstate New York, I actually get to go outside. Nature is my healer. A little sun, seeing one of the new baby deer, seeing the baby foxes, seeing all the animals that makes me happy. I also journal every single day. I journal when I get up in the morning, I journal in the middle of the afternoon, and I journal before I go to bed. And I also have, on my phone, I have this folder, and thanks to my amazing co-host, because she gave me this idea. But on my phone, I have a folder, and it's called my joy folder, and it's pictures that bring me joy. So anytime I'm going through like a really rough spot, I'll go and look back at the pictures, and it puts a smile on my face, and it helps kind of change the trajectory of that moment. But the number one thing I did for myself, and thanks to my therapist, because I never knew about this, is I set some boundaries, and I have some serious boundaries, right? Like if it smells like drama, it has to go through this little pretend black box that I have, but um, it makes me think about what I'm gonna get involved in, because the number one thing I protect right now is myself. I hadn't done that before. I hadn't done it in, like, 59 years, but now I protect my mental health, and yes, I lost some friends because of this? Yes, I have, but, I gotta take care of me, and you've all heard it. You need to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you do everybody else. Okay, yeah, for years, I would laugh at that, and I'm like, "Oh, now I get it." And it's really important for you to maintain your own mental health before you're out there trying to help others. But when we record, so I structure our days, so we record 6 to 7 episodes 1 Saturday a month. And I structure the recording so, like, we have something I know is not gonna be super difficult to talk about. I have 2 of those, and then we have a super difficult, and then we have, like, a medium difficult. And we and I really take care of my mental health. Like, the day after we record, it's something I do with my wife. I just go out and take a deep breath and be very grateful for all that I have. Gratitude is huge. And one of the other things I've been doing lately, like I've done this for like the last 10 days, is I will wake up, first
Mhm.
20 minutes is to watch a funny video, right? Laughter is good for your soul. And then after I'm done with that, I express what I'm grateful for that day, and I vocalize it so that, like, my higher spirit can hear that. That's my intention for the day, and that's how we get through the really tough times.
Absolutely, absolutely. I swear by that. Laughter is and that too, pure innocence, innocent laughter. Because there's so many misconceptions again around that. But um, I I I also feel like very light when I watch any kind of funny videos, and really, that roasting or maybe self deprecating stuff. Sometimes, not every time. But yes, I mean, I too have my own kind of safe space where I watch and I feel light. I even if I'm having a really tough day, I'm really feeling mentally or emotionally tired, or I'm just feeling like frustrated or have no clue what exactly I have to do. I'm just confused. My mind is going blank. Okay, let's just take a pause, watch something good, then I'll recalibrate myself and then get back to the zone. But yeah, I completely agree with that, Gretchen.
And the world is hard right now. It's
Yeah.
really hard, and I would suggest going to a park and listening to the kids laugh. Talk about bringing some joy into your life, right? Bring
Mhm.
joy in. Like, yeah, everything's crazy right now, but it's not that hard to find some joy. If joy gives you hope, joy puts a smile on your face, joy makes your head feel better. Find that joy. It could be a second, it could be 20 minutes. Go find your joy.
Absolutely. It's a choice. You are free to take that choice. Nobody can take that choice away from you.
No,
They can
not
take
at all.
it from you. Yeah, and other than kids as well, I watch a lot of puppy or cat videos or animal videos. Because like they have those videos where an animal is like hugging their caretaker or a human who kind of rescued them. So it really feels very joyful that yes, there is a connection in there. Nature has its own ways of setting up connections between
It
one.
does. And you know, I'm totally into like the raccoon videos right now because okay, yeah, I get it. They're little porch bandits, okay, but they're super cute. Okay?
Yeah, but cute.
And they make me laugh and like for anybody that's out there, I mean really struggling. Remember you are wanted, you are needed, you are loved. Take it 1 second at a time. Reach out to people that can be there for you. If you don't feel comfortable talking to a friend, call a crisis hotline. They are free, they're anonymous, that they will help you get to that next moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. Great, Gretchen. So in the interest of time, if our listeners would like to connect with you and listen to your podcast, share their stories as well with you, what's the best way to do that?
So you can go out to our website. It's goesoninOurheads.net. And if you want to learn more about my business, you can go out to Schoser Solutions.com.
I'll make sure to have all the details along with the 988 Crisis Lifeline and all the details in there for all of our listeners. And Gretchen, I cannot thank you enough for showing us that even from the deepest struggles, we can create something meaningful, profoundly beautiful, and purposeful. So, thank you for sharing your story. Definitely is a beacon for anyone who feels lost. And definitely thank you for reminding us that laughter, connection, and honesty can light the way. So, thank you.
You're so welcome. And thank you so much again for having me.
And to all of our listeners out there, if this conversation moved you, if you connected with Gretchen's story and her insights, her experiences, share it with someone who might need it today and who might need to hear it. And remember that you are never alone on this journey. Thank you so much.